G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the Uppercut TV Fight Show. Today we have Shannon Shaggy King here as always to discuss a few fights. Today we're going to talk about Rumble at the Ridge 15, which was on last Saturday night. The fight of the night being Dylan Pollock and Corey Nicholson. Bit of a war, Shaggy, both boys going at it very, very hard.
Obviously deservedly so, fight of the night. Was a great battle. I thought it was a pair of twins fighting in the sense they looked a little alike.
I thought the same.
They fought exactly the same. I think if you went back through the tape, you'd probably find on 10 occasions they both threw a right hand at the same time, maybe just missing. I think Dylan had a good opportunity to maybe stop the fight with a couple of good head kicks he was landing. Corey came home maybe a little bit stronger with some good step-up knees. He obviously got the win, and deservedly so, but, you know, a little judge's error by tiniest of margin or something could have went either way.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed in this fight was the condition that both fighters were in. In your experience, how much does that condition just make the fight really, really attractive for the audience?
Yeah, well, it was non-stop action from round one, you know what I mean, right to the end. So maybe that's what swayed the judges in the sense that Corey had that little bit more maybe heading forwards towards the end, but fight of the night for sure.
In my opinion, up until the last round, it was very, very even with Corey kicking away, winning that last round. And if you were to provide some advice, where do you think Dylan could go next in regards to stepping up his game a little bit more and getting back on track?
Well, really, I don't know really what I can say there because the ages that they are, the skill level they're actually producing this day and age, and it's a perfect example fight of the night. What advice can you give? They're heading in the right direction because they're fighting a lot more skillful than most of us back in the day, so it's good on them.
Also, after the fight of the night, we'll move on to the South Pacific title that was fought for last Saturday night. Also worth mentioning, there was two world titles fought for on the same night, but for the South Pacific title, we had Lyndon from Staunch Top Team fighting Hone Snowd and the Kiwi. On the night, there was actually 3 Australia versus New Zealand Trans-Tasman fights, with Australia coming away with all 3 wins. Shaggy, what did you make of the South Pacific title fight?
With Lyndon, this is very interesting. So I've seen Lyndon fight quite a few times. This time, I think he had a bit more of a plan. Like, he's very athletic, he's got heaps of ability, but he normally tries a bit hard. This time, he actually was patient. He checked a few times. He built up to throwing a lot of elbows. He didn't just try to kill him first round. He used a lot of hands, which he always is good at. And then as the fight went along, he seemed to up the pace and then started opening up with some big elbows and getting the cuts and pretty much finishing it from there.
And it went from there. And you just mentioned the elbows. That was the main thing that I noticed. And when he went through, not only was he setting up for the elbows, but also using them off the cuff as well, which ended up with the win for him. But Shaggy, what I want to ask of yourself, going into a fight, do you usually find something that you want to work on to do in the fight, or do you take an arsenal in there with you?
Well, I'm not really sure what Lyndon worked on before the fight, but he built from his punches, which he's very good at, then added his kicks. I think he upped his level of professionalism, you know what I mean? I think he actually went to that next level of fighting.
Yeah, without a doubt. And obviously, it looks like Lyndon went in there with a game plan. He executed it perfectly, and there's nowhere but up for this guy. Very good rising star amongst the ranks, not only here in Brisbane and Queensland, but also in Australia. The amateur fight of the night between Shanae Milne and Savannah Bronson. Now, Savannah is the daughter of Ian Bronson, who very accomplished fighter himself, also the promoter last Saturday night. Shannon, the kids these days getting into it, I mean, you saw the fight like I did. Some great skill from some such young ladies.
I've been pushing the fact that the younger generation, their skill level's unbelievable, but in this instance, Savannah obviously has good pedigree behind father and a mother, so that wasn't any surprise there. It was quite an even bout, so I do think Savannah won. She came home maybe a little bit stronger, but both girls with some unbelievable skill, especially at that age too. So.
Definitely great skill, great effort, and to see 2 young, lovely girls at that age getting in, it's a great sign for the sport moving forward. So we're finishing up, Shannon. We've reviewed the 3 fights. Where can we watch those fights, and where can the people at home go to if they want to get a recap?
You can purchase them online at uppercuttv.com. Uppercut TV have filmed plenty of other shows that are available on their website, so please go to uppercuttv.com and watch the fights you like.
Now we're going to move on to our upcoming fights. On the 8th of August, we have the next Rumble at the Ridge, number 16. We have an Australian and a Queensland title. We've got Matt Webb and Jacob Richards fighting for the Australian title. And we also have Tyson Faulkner and Quan Fong fighting for the Queensland title. 19th of September, we have Corporate Punishment coming up. Tell us who we've brought out to headline that show.
Yeah, we've actually got a new member to Team Thai, and that's Aprak's brother named Uppercut. And
very similar names.
Very similar names, very similar looking, and apparently very similar exciting fighting style. So I don't think we actually have a match for Uppercut yet. I think we're chasing a few of the top tier people such as Chad Collins, maybe Jamie Stan, Michael Thompson, a few of the big names. So if anyone's out there and would like to have a go at Uppercut, just give Corporate Box a call and we'll try to organise that.
If anyone wanted to get along to see some of the action we've just spoken about, they can get in touch with Ian Bronson for the fights at the Rumble at the Ridge, and for our Corporate Punishment show, you can get in touch with Corporate Box for all your tickets. Also, if there's anybody out there looking for a fight, I do know both promoters from both shows are looking for fighters, so feel free to get in touch with either of those if you're keen on getting on there and mixing it up. Before we finish up today, obviously we have to thank our lovely partners, Fight and Fit. Without them, we wouldn't be able to put the show together. Fight and Fit obviously are located down here in Lutwyche. Any of your fighting needs anywhere in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, anywhere, they will send it all out. Feel free to jump on Fight and Fit, find all your gear. They'll look after you to no end.